What is going on, my homies? I've showed you guys a bunch of sneak rigs, even my buddy Ryan from Cast Baits. You know, he shows us some cool rigs, and they all relate to one thing: small swim bait or finesse swim bait fishing. I absolutely love throwing these things, dude. And we're going into that time of year, dude. The standard, obviously the Keitech, dude. But there's a couple variations that offer some sort of tail combinations that literally kind of blew my mind. And I'm gonna show you those in the video. And what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna test them underwater. I'm gonna show you how the action is so completely different from some of the standards, the Cast Prodigy, the Keitech. And we're gonna compare them and look at them and see which fits into which situation. So hit that like and subscribe button for me. If you guys are looking for an edge when it comes to your small and finesse swim bait game, I think I got it for you. So the standard in this small swim bait game, no doubt, is this guy right here, the Keitech. The 3.3, the 2.8, this one's in kind of like a pink flash color. There's a million different colors, dude. It provides an ultra soft platform and a boot style platform, right? It's got that circle tail. When we tested it underwater, the biggest key with the Keitech is it had the very wagging motion, right? It had body rock, it had a huge amount of tail wag, and it's just one of those things that as the water gets colder, the plastic gets stiffer, right? So it allows you to fish this swim bait very slowly in super cold water situations and still get that action. Now, one that I have been loving, and you've seen it in the sneak rigs a whole bunch, and my buddy, I think he nailed it with this, is the Cast Prodigy. So it's a variation style of the Keitech. It offers some different qualities. One, it's much more durable, dude. It definitely holds up a lot better on an A-rig, a jig head, however you want to fish it. The other thing is it has a more triangular tail. And it also comes with a rattle. So there's a difference in the vibration that it provides. It also has a much thinner body. It comes in that 3-inch category. This one, when we put it underwater on the ball head, definitely had the sort of the sway or the rock that the Keitech did, but it was more subtle. The tail definitely had some waggle, but it was a much more subtle kind of waggle. The plastic's more durable, but what's interesting with the Cast is it actually works really well in cold water too. I've smoked spotted bass on it, dude, and it was specifically designed to kind of accommodate linear and some of the big spots. I absolutely love this one. It's a variation of the Keitech, and in my opinion, they haven't seen it as much, and it still capitalizes and kind of crushes them where sometimes they get a little bit weird with the Keitech. So who are the new players? What's the new look when it comes to these swim baits? These kind of blew my mind, dude. So this is from NetBait. This is the Sonix Shad, Sonix with an X. And it's built on the kind of that hex tech concept where they have that honeycombing in that. This one comes in a little under 3 inches, and you can immediately see what the difference is. And it's this guy right here. It's a wagtail, dude. Reminds me a little bit of the old HUD tail. It's that kind of like that ball kind of shake tail. It's also much thinner. You can see it's a much more slender bait, ultra finesse. When we put this thing underwater, I was blown away because it had action, one. I'm like, I don't know if this thing's gonna swim. The tail ever so slightly just kind of vibrates and sways back and forth. It has a very small amount of body rock, very subtle, but there's not nearly as much tail wag as with that Keitech. So it's a very subtle, very just soft pronunciation of that tail and of that small swim bait action. I really like this one. I see a lot of potential for ultra clear, ultra cold water situations with this thing. It's freaking cool, and when you actually tightline it to the bottom, it just does this little waggle as it's going down, and it's different. I've never seen anything like this in the small, like that small swim bait, finesse swim bait category, and it has a completely unique action. So I'm kind of stoked about this one. So on that same page, there's another one from NetBait, and this one I was extremely skeptical of. This is actually the Sonix Glide, and immediately looking at it, you're like, dude, that's a minnow. And I kind of thought the same thing. I'm like, that's a minnow, you gotta do the Japanese shake. No, you actually don't. When you look closer at the tail, what looks like a fluke style tail actually has these little nubs on the end, and what they actually do is they act like little kind of catches for the water, and they create this kicking motion, a lot like what I would call like a cilia motion. I don't know if you've ever seen it in the science magazines when you see those cilia just like kicking those little kind of tails, and it pushes them forward. This thing actually kicks ever so slightly. Once again though, same body style, that thinner, under 3-inch body style. The body doesn't really rock and roll like the Keitech does, or even the Cast. It's a much more straight, sort of unpronounced kind of presentation. It's super subtle, dude. And we could barely capture those legs or those tails kicking in the water because they were so just, the vibration was so small. It was so minute. Like, these guys fit into a category, and once again, I think it's that sort of ultra finesse. If you're looking for something that offers a different tail vibration, something that's so subtle. These fish are just in the most neutral mood. It's the coldest day of the year. They've been freezing. They're sitting in the ditches. They've seen these minnows. They've seen a lot of Keitechs. This is where these kind of fit in, dude. It's a perfect way to kind of show them a slight, very subtle vibration, but still get that small swim bait, you know, put it on a ball head, put it on an A-rig, that small swim bait presentation. I personally think these are going to smash them. I've caught them a little bit throwing to suspended fish thus far this year, but the real highlight is going to come as these fish kind of transition into that ditch mode. They get down, they lay in that mud, they suspend around brush, they suspend around stumps, and you need something to draw them up. The water's clear, it's kind of hard to get them to move. You need something that gives off enough action, enough vibration, but doesn't overdo it and kind of scare them away, because everybody's been pinging a minnow, everybody's throwing a Keitech. I think they're pretty cool. I showed you guys a lot of underwater footage. I kind of want some feedback, dude. A lot of you guys love throwing a Keitech, love throwing a small swim bait. You've watched a bunch of the videos, because, dude, I love throwing this, and it gets a bunch of views, right? I kind of want your feedback. Let me know what you think of what you saw in the underwater footage. I'll put links to them at Tackle Warehouse, Monster Bass for you guys to check out, along with some of the rigging components that I normally use. But let me know what you think. Let me know if this changes the game a little bit, because in my personal opinion, as somebody who kind of thinks of themselves a little bit as a connoisseur of small swim bait, finesse fishing, I think it does. Hit that like and subscribe button for me. Thank you for watching, my homies. I appreciate all the support. I will give Bog a pat for you. Later.